Chapter 6. The Fire. The first day we traveled about 50 kilometers, but James drove carefully and made sure that Ginger and I were always on the smoothest part of the road. It was evening when we reached the hotel where we were going to stay that night. It was in the marketplace and two stablemen came out to us. The chief stableman was a pleasant old man, and he led me into a long stable with 6 or 8 stalls in it, and 2 or 3 horses. The younger man brought in Ginger, and James watched while we were groomed. I thought I was quick, James told the old stableman, but you're quicker than anyone. I've worked with horses since I was 12 years old, and I can tell you it's good to be able to work with a well-behaved, well-cared-for animal like this, said the stableman, patting my neck. Who is your master? Mr. Gordon of Birtwick Park, said James. I've heard of him, said the stableman. He's a good judge of horses, and the best rider in this part of the country. He doesn't ride very often now, said James, not since the poor young master was killed. I read about that in the newspaper, said the stableman. A fine horse was killed too, wasn't it? Yes, an excellent horse, said James. He was the brother of this one, and just like him. Terrible, said the old man. It was a bad place to jump, wasn't it? A man's life and a horse's life are worth more than a hair, or they should be. Later that evening, the younger stableman brought in another horse, and a young man with a pipe in his mouth came into the stable to talk to him. Toller, go up and get some hay and put it down for this horse, will you? Said the stableman, but put down your pipe first. All right, said the other man, and went up a ladder and through a little door. I heard him step across the floor over my head and push down some hay through a hole in the roof, into the new horse's feeding place. James came in to look at us before he went to bed, and then the door was locked. I don't know how long I slept, or what time it was when I woke up, but the air seemed thick and I heard Ginger and another horse moving about worriedly. It was quite dark and I could see nothing. The stable was full of smoke, and it was almost impossible to breathe. The smoke seemed to come from the little door above me, and I could hear a strange noise up there. The other horses were now all awake, moving about restlessly. At last I heard someone outside, and then the younger stableman ran in with a light. He began to untie the horses, and tried to lead them out. The first horse would not go with him, nor the second or third. He tried to pull me out, but he was so frightened himself that he frightened me, and I would not move. The noise above was louder now and there was a shout of fire. Outside, the old stableman came in quietly and quickly and got one horse out, then another. By now the flames were coming down through the roof and the noise was terrible. Then I heard James's voice, quiet and friendly as it always was. Come on, Beauty, he said, we'll soon get you out of this smoke. He took off his scarf and tied it over my eyes, then led me out, patting me all the time. He took the scarf off, then shouted, Take this horse, somebody, while I go back for the other. Windows in the hotel were open and people were shouting. I watched the stable door, where the smoke came out thicker than ever. Then I heard one voice above all the others, and recognized it as my master's. James Howard, are you there? There was no answer, only the crash of something falling in the stable, but the next moment I saw James coming through the smoke, leading Ginger with him. My brave boy, said the master. Are you hurt? James shook his head, unable to speak because of the smoke. Suddenly, I heard the sound of wheels and galloping horses. It's the fire engine, shouted someone. 2 horses ran past me, pulling the heavy fire engine. The firemen jumped out, and we went quickly into the wide, quiet marketplace, out of their way. James led me out, patting me all the time. The master led us to a large hotel on the other side where a stableman came to take us in, then the master hurried off to find his wife. The next morning, he came to see how we were and to speak to James. I did not hear much, but James looked very happy and the master looked proud of him. How did the fire start? Someone said they saw Dick Toller go into the stable smoking a pipe, but that when Dick came out he didn't have it. The young stableman said that he asked Dick to go up the ladder to put down some hay, but also told him to put down his pipe first. Dick said that he did this, but nobody believed him. James said the roof and floor had all fallen in and only the black walls were standing. The two poor horses who could not get out were buried under the fallen roof.